Hello, Patricia. Thank you again for coming all the way over here to come and spend some time with my family as we all get to know you. And the fact that you're even willing and able to cook is just the most amazing thing for everyone here. We're all oh so looking forward to what you'll have ready for us by the time lunch starts.
And thank you as well, Ashley. It was so kind of you to invite me out here to finally come and see the parents of the young woman my son is so very in love with. I've also been having a very fun time with you cooking all these dishes, and I hope you all really do look forward to eating what I've made for you all today. Actually, I really am thankful that you let me help cook this time. It's helped me calm my nerves a little bit, considering that this is my first time being over at your guys' house and first time seeing you in person.
Yes, no worries. I had to make sure you could cook since you come from a moneyless family. But it brings me great joy to see that you can, in fact, work with higher quality foods. I mean, I was almost certain that a lot of the appliances in here would be too high-tech for you to understand.
Huh?
Did you have a good look around my kitchen? It's outstanding, right? We make sure to have all the most up-to-date cooking appliances in it so that all our meals are prepared the best. And when you had a chance to look inside our refrigerator, you got to see all our perfect meats and produce, right? We only allow foods that come directly from the sources they're gathered from. And yes, that does mean that a lot of our food is imported, but we're willing to pay that extra price for such delicious ingredients. And when it comes to all my storage in the kitchen, well, as you can see, I make sure that it is all well managed so that I never forget where something is. But of course, this is all possible because of my husband having so many restaurants under his company name, right?
Yeah. Well, I can tell that you really put a lot of time into your kitchen, Ashley. And I hope that you weren't too nervous letting me handle some of those appliances of yours.
I could never begin to imagine the kind of kitchen you must have to work in most of the time back at your home. I'm sure that there aren't nearly the amount of appliances we have in there, and most of your food is probably frozen and disgusting, right? Oh, I just can't see myself ever having to cook in a place like that. Do you guys even clean it out at all, or is most of the leftover foods from last year still sitting around in there?
Well, no, not really, but as for myself, I'm pretty busy with other things, so I never really have the time to work in my kitchen anyway. Nobody's really home anymore either, so that's another reason for not really cooking in there.
Oh, are you like those poor people that never stop working hard at laborious jobs? Well, that must be so tiring for you indeed. I guess that means you force yourself and your son to eat out all the time then. Fast food? That must be so hard on your guys' health, right? Unlike you all, my family never really has to work hard, so I'm not really able to understand what you guys have to go through.
Well, anyway, before everything we've made up today starts to get cold, let's bring it out to the dining table and get to eating. I'm sure that even Dave and Amy's stomachs are beginning to hurt as we speak.
Good point. But listen, I just had a quick glance at the food you ended up cooking for today. Have you made sure to measure the amount of salt you put into this dish properly?
The amount of salt in it?
It seemed that you put quite the emphasis on salt in your dish, using things like soy sauce in it as well as table salt. Are you sure that this dish isn't too salty?
Well, of course I didn't use a huge amount in that dish. Please excuse me, but I added the appropriate amounts of salt that I thought was needed as I went along making that dish.
Huh. Well, if you hadn't measured the amount of sodium properly in your dish, then what would happen to you if perhaps my husband or daughter's health went downhill due to your dish? Well, this is all very unfortunate. I suppose I was better off not asking you to help cook with me.
But when I had asked you for a spoon to measure out the amount of soy sauce I was putting in my dish, you told me you didn't want me touching any of your silverware.
Is that right? So now you're going to make up more excuses for this? Well, for now, I'm going to have to toss all of this in the trash. You're fine with that, right?
Wait, what? You're going to throw away the perfectly good food I just cooked?
That's right. I can't let anyone eat this food when we have no idea what all's in it. Ugh, and this all had to happen while my family and yours are saying they're so hungry. Now we're going to have to go back and cook everything from scratch.
I was really doing my best to make sure that everything was properly balanced out in that dish, including the salt. And I have confidence that that dish is perfectly safe for eating.
Huh? Oh, don't make me laugh. I know that moneyless people like yourself never bother to think about making your dishes, healthy or not. You guys love to consume your salts, and that's why you all end up being so large.
That is not the case in my family.
Go and throw all that food out for me, please. That should be all right with you, right? Oh, perhaps we should go out to eat instead today. I'm going to bring the car out for everyone, so you follow behind us, okay?
Huh? You're okay with me coming along with you all as well?
Well, you did come today to talk with my family about the marriage of your son and my daughter that's coming up really soon, right? And so far, we all haven't really had the time to talk with you and get to know you more. So when we get to the restaurant, we can all sit down and have plenty of time to talk to one another.
Understood.
So how was it, Patricia? This restaurant is pretty special, isn't it? But of course you've never had the kind of French food this place has served up before, right?
That's right, but I do know about this restaurant.
Is that so? I'm sure you've seen it on TV or maybe read about it online, right? Oh, after all, this is the kind of restaurant that attracts even the most affluent of people to it, so it's very well known all over the world. And I'll have you know that the owner of this place is a close friend of mine. It's because of the support and funding that I gave this place that they were able to even open the restaurant in the first place.
Is that so? Well, that's very interesting indeed.
But of course, I'm sure that someone like you can't even imagine what kind of place this is on the inside, so let's go on in. And make sure to tell your son Dave to not make any scenes and handle himself maturely, okay?
My son is not 5 years old anymore, so you really don't have to worry about him. Just worry about yourself and we'll all be fine today.
Well, he only had a mother around to raise him all his life, so I'm a bit worried about whether he was able to get the right education or not from only you. As for Amy, she is a CEO father to lead her and a career woman like me to be her mother figure. My husband and I are just so amazing, and she was so lucky to be born into our family. So we never have to worry about her being a proper adult.
Huh. Is that so? You often talk about yourselves as being a very amazing family and all that, don't you? It makes me feel very embarrassed about everything.
You can feel all the embarrassment you want, but that's only natural considering you and your son are both losers in this world and will never amount to the success my family has. And since I've made it all the way to the top with my own strength, I have the right to toot my own horn every once in a while about it. Anything I think of, I will say. And I have the right to do that as I'm a winner in this world.
Well, can we stop with all this horn tooting as we're about to go into the restaurant right now? As of right now, we've just been sitting in our cars in this parking lot for a few minutes now, and I'd kind of like to go inside.
Well, you have a good point, Patricia.
Ashley? Why am I only being served mashed potatoes right now while the rest of you get to have actual course-based meals?
Well, that's because to a poor person like you, all you need is mashed potatoes, right?
Hold on. How much longer are you going to come at me like that? Your jokes are getting a bit stale now, so please just treat me as your equal, okay? We're not in middle school anymore either, so let's just be adults about all this and enjoy the time we get to spend with our kids today.
Huh? Why are you trying to talk to me like you know better when you can't even afford this year's model of cars? Oh, I could laugh so hard at this right now. Are you trying your hardest right now to make yourself look better in front of me? It's because of us wealthy people that the poor like you are able to live at all in this world, so please be more kind to me and my family and maybe say thank you more often.
Is that so? By the way, where are you right now?
Right now I'm outside having myself a cigarette. Is there something wrong?
You're smoking a cigarette? If I remember correctly, this restaurant doesn't allow smoking on the premises, and that means outside as well.
I am an investor in this restaurant, so I have the right to smoke whenever I please. My goodness, you're trying so hard to find a way to take me down off my high horse, and it's just so adorable.
That isn't what I'm trying to do at all right now, actually.
What's wrong, Patricia? Just a few minutes ago, you started to act like a tough little girl in front of me. You don't have to worry about your appearance in front of me and my family, as we already know the kind of filth you really are. So let's just enjoy our time together, and please enjoy this fine restaurant, as you'll probably never be able to eat here again. Right?
You really like talking down to me like that.
Today is a very special day for our kids, so let's just enjoy this lovely French food, all right? Well, I suppose the rest of us will, while the poor get to enjoy that huge plate of mashed potatoes.
Our family is freaking over with.
Huh?
You, what the hell did you think you were doing? I had a feeling that something was wrong when Patricia only received a plate of mashed potatoes, unlike the rest of us who were getting served a full course. But then I realized that you were the one that ordered all those potatoes for her.
Well, why are you getting upset with me? I was just doing all of that as a sort of joke is all.
Why are you trying to joke around with her like that? That's not even a joke to most people like her, but rather you trying to offend her.
I'm sorry, Dakota. But really, why are you getting so upset over something as small as that? We are all leagues above someone like her and Dave, so what I've done isn't a problem for us at all.
You think that our family is leagues above hers? What the actual hell are you going on about?
Well, I'm correct, right? Our family happens to have way more money than that single mother and her childish son have. And it's our family's money that helps keep moneyless freaks like them alive in the first place, right?
I'm so over you right now that I can't even let out a single sigh. That way of thinking is already more than a problem for you. But if you really want to talk about who's above the other here, it's her. Her and her family are leagues above us.
Huh? Why's that?
Why's that? Do you really not know who the hell she is? Right now, Patricia is the #1 supporter of my company, and has been for a very, very long time.
Huh? Are you sure about that? I never heard a thing about that from someone like you or anyone else.
I know for a fact that I've spoken with you before about how Patricia has put a lot of money into my company. But I guess you never listened to what I said to you at all back then. And before we even begin to talk more about what she's done for my company, we need to talk about how you've been treating her. It doesn't even matter if she's considered below or above us, the way you've been trying to offend her is not okay.
When you say that she's given a lot to your company, what do you mean?
Like myself, she works within the food service business as well as I, and we are both considered top of our classes in this industry. And when she learned about how I was starting all sorts of businesses in fine dining across the US, she began to invest in my company, making sure that I was able to get as many restaurants going as possible.
Huh?
And not only has she been investing in my company, but she herself owns plenty of restaurants, ranging from places that specialize in burgers to places that do sushi. She has really been doing it all in this industry, and has made sure that my company does just as well as hers with her support. I can't even raise a finger to her because of how much she's given me. And now you've started to pick on her? What the hell is wrong with you?
But nobody ever told me anything about this, so I had no clue she had that kind of power. I guess I may have heard something like this from you, but I never imagined that the person you were talking about was her. All right, I'm going to come back in there right now and have the waiter take back her order and get her a course meal as well.
I've already made sure to order her a proper course here, so you don't have to come back in here. Actually, I'm not going to allow you back in here. You go right back home from here, all right?
Why should I have to go home? Aren't you being a jackass right now?
Are you freaking kidding me right now? You just tried to hurt one of the most important people to this family. So having you come back and acting as though nothing ever happened will only make things worse for us. I'm not going to allow you to offend her any more than you already have. I'm trying to think of the future of my company now, so go away.
Understood. But how am I supposed to get home all by myself? I can't drive a car or anything like that. You know that, right?
Take a bus or a taxi or anything to get you out of the vicinity of this restaurant. Are you really that brainless that you can't even fend for yourself out there?
All right then.
Patricia, I'm so very sorry for what happened today. I never thought that my wife would ever do something as idiotic as try to make fun of you.
No, don't worry about it, Dakota. I've been able to calm myself down now after all of that. Really, all she's done to me now is made me have to think a bit more about a few things.
What things has she made you start thinking about?
Well, about my marriage life and about what I do for a living.
Wait, you don't have to think about all of that because of her. I'll take full responsibility for what she's done to you and take the full repercussion of it. So, please, can you make sure not to harm the project we have going on at the moment?
But it seems that Dave no longer wants to go through with the project. After all, this was all his idea, and he's been left in control of what happens and when it happens regarding this project. I've only stood by his side as an investor to him, and so that new burger restaurant you both are working on falls on his shoulders, depending on what he decides to do with it now.
Is that right? Well, then there's nothing else that can be done about it then. He had to sit there and watch as my wife made terrible comments about the two of you, and I'm sure that someone like him would never want to continue working with the husband of a woman like that. Understood. I'll stop with all the selfish comments I've been making regarding my business and yours, and let you be.
I'm sorry, Dakota, but thank you.
But on a very personal note, I am so very sorry for everything.
What is this about you wanting to get a divorce soon? I am not going to allow you to get a divorce from me.
I've had enough of your childish crap, Ashley. And the fact that you might be putting my own money at risk now? I don't want you around me ever again. All right? I doubt you even realize just how important of business I had with someone like Lola and her son, and now it's all going to be lost because of you. But there's still some hope of us being able to make something new work. So to keep that from falling through, I need you to leave me. My job is far more important than some selfish wife, and that's why I want this divorce.
What the hell? Are you really going to sit there telling your own wife that your job is more important to you than her?
It's not the company itself that's more important to me than you are, but those that work for me, and those that work with me that are more important than you.
What?
I am the CEO of a very large company, and I am the one held responsible for all my employees and customers. And recently, I began a very important project with both Dave and a few other very important customers. And if that project really does fall flat, then I'm going to be the one getting screwed, not you. So I need to do whatever I can to make things right again with Dave, and that means getting rid of you.
So that's your reasoning for wanting to divorce me?
That's exactly right. I'm sure that a long time ago you viewed me as your husband, but all I see from you now is using me as your ATM and your status keeper. So divorcing and cutting ties with you might just help you realize that what you're losing is more than just your money.
So you're just going to throw me away just so I can see that I'm losing my husband? Well, if you do that, I'm going to make you regret throwing a woman like me away.
These past few years, as my company grew and we gained more wealth, I've noticed that your head was getting too big for your body. And after a while, I really started to get tired of hearing you brag about yourself nonstop to everyone we met. I was able to just go on with my life ignoring what you were saying and doing, but today you crossed the line. What you did to Patricia's cooking by throwing it away after saying it wasn't good enough.
Well, come on. It's not my fault that she's so bad at cooking that she could cause you or Amy harm.
She's so bad at cooking? Do you have any clue what you're talking about right now? That woman used to run a restaurant of her own with 2 Michelin stars.
Huh?
But as of now, she no longer runs that restaurant because she's busy operating about 100 others through her company. Patricia is a very amazing woman, and her success speaks far louder than whatever lousy cooking you think you can make. To think that you went and threw her food away like that. I was looking forward to trying it all out.
Well, I never knew that. If you would have told me sooner, none of this would ever be happening.
I've had enough. You've done far too much talking today. You really think I want to live with a woman like you after all the horrible things you've done? I want you out of the house by the end of the night. Understood?
Wait, Dakota! Hey, Patricia, please listen to me. Can you talk with your son and get him to continue with the project he had with my husband? What's all this about? Your company and my husband's company have a project going on right now, right? Can you please get that project back on track like it always should have been? Please?
And as of right now, I'm talking with my son about that.
It's because of you talking about it that my husband is going to divorce me soon. So please, I really do feel sorry for what I've done, so get back to having your son work on that project with my husband and let me stay married to my husband.
Are you kidding me, Ashley? You're telling me that Dakota is divorcing you? I knew that he was a man of his company and his employees. He must really want me to see that he does care more about our partnership rather than whatever he had with you.
Stop thinking about it like that. He's telling me he wants me gone so he can focus on his work full-time. That's not okay, right? Don't you feel bad that I'm going to lose my husband because of his selfish behaviors?
I don't feel bad for you at all. I think what he's chosen to do is the right thing and the perfect way of handling the cards he's been dealt. And also, Dakota has been a dear friend of mine and a good business partner for a very long time, Ashley. To be blunt, he really does care a whole lot about his work, but he cares even more about the people he employs and the customers he has. He is such a powerful man for being that way.
And as his wife, I know all of that better than anyone else.
You do? Well, I guess you know about everything besides who his biggest supporter is and what project he's in the middle of working on, right?
And when it comes to those 2 things, I happen to just forget about them. Now go call my husband and tell him that you will get your son to continue the project, and then have him cancel the divorce.
Are you sure you feel sorry about what you did to me? Because this all seems like anything but you feeling sorry about what you did to me. I have no idea what's made you think you deserve everything in this world at the cost of others.
Well, it's because you don't know the first thing about higher-class people like me.
Oh, I do understand people like you, though. Now, I'm going to call Dakota and let him know what both my son and I have been thinking about that project for you.
Huh? Really?
Yes, really. And this is all going to be about your divorce from him, okay?
Huh?
I'll make sure that he will no longer have to worry about a thing and can get right back to focusing on his company and his customers. I think Dave will be fine with all of this as well.
Hold on a moment. Why are you trying to bully me now? If If I have to leave my husband for good, I'll seriously be on my own in this world without anyone to help me. Even Amy is telling me that she'll never speak to me again after the divorce.
I am not going to forget about how you sat there in front of my own son making fun of the person I am. I worked so dang hard to raise my son into the man he is today and had to sacrifice a lot to get him there. As a single parent, I had to balance work and parenting to make sure both needs were met. And hearing from you that I failed to raise him properly and have a proper job, I am not going to let you get away with crap like that around me. You witch! You think you're all that now that my husband is against me? I'll have you know, Lola, that I have plenty of other connections. I told you about how I'm the one that is invested into that French restaurant we went to earlier, right? Even if you try to make me suffer for you being such an emotional witch, I am going to keep on living as the winner. How does that make you feel, knowing I'll never lose? I bet it stings, right? Right, I almost forgot to say this. You have been banned from ever entering that restaurant again, so go ahead and toot that horn of yours some more.
Huh? I've been banned from there? What the hell do you think you're talking about? Tell me, what's their reason for having me banned from going into their restaurant?
Well, you proceeded to smoke on the premises of that restaurant, and it caused a bother for a lot of the customers coming in and out of there. And this isn't your first time doing that either, so this was the final straw.
Huh. Who do they think they are, banning an investor like me from going inside their restaurant? You can pretty much call me the owner of that place, and I say that I'm allowed to do whatever I want there.
Well, if you'd like to know who the real owner of that place is, it's me.
Huh?
Recently, I had been hearing about how there was someone saying they were a huge investor for my restaurant and that they'd use that to get whatever they wanted from there. And lo and behold, that person turned out to be you, of all people. I was shocked when you told me that to my face.
You have to be lying, but because I am.
I don't ever remember getting any kind of money from you that you wanted invested into my restaurant. That's right. You happen to have a couple of other friends that run high-end restaurants around the city, right? Well, I'd like you to go ahead and tell me what restaurants those are.
No.
Tell me, please. And don't think that I'm going to let you off the hook until you tell me about the other restaurants you're in good relations with, okay? I don't mind how you phrase it as long as you tell me.
Well, there's that one restaurant by City Hall's southern exit.
Right, that's the place that specializes in shrimp, correct? Well, that place also happens to be run by me and my company. What other places do you know?
I've had enough. Sure, I've been saying that I have connections with a lot of restaurants around here, but what's so bad about that?
I never said there was anything wrong with that. I happen to brag about my cooking and my whole company a lot, actually, and about how those have made me into the woman I am today. But the only difference is that I didn't lie about the strengths I have and then use them to talk down to others.
Hey, I just got a text from Amy saying she's cutting ties to me. I'm seriously going to be all on my own now. Please, can you do something on your end to save me?
Ain't that so? You don't have a job yourself, and you'll soon be without a home as well. Soon your life is going to become pretty difficult, Berna. Well, if you're ever feeling a bit hungry, give me a call, please. I'll make sure to have a fresh plate of hot French fries ready for you to eat. As for her daughter, Amy, well, the situation between them became increasingly strained over time. Amy eventually made the difficult decision to cut all ties with her mother. It wasn't an easy choice, and she didn't make it lightly, but Ashley's behavior over the years had worn her down. The final blow came when Ashley blocked Amy on all social media platforms, ensuring that there would be no way for her to ever contact her again. It seemed to be Amy's way of cutting herself off completely, but in reality it left Amy feeling both devastated and relieved. The relief came from knowing that, at least for the time being, she would no longer have to carry the burden of her mother's self-centered attitude. With no family or reliable support system to turn to, Amy found herself stranded in the city, trying desperately to find any connections that might still be willing to lend a helping hand. But it wasn't as if Ashley had many people in her corner. Over the years, she had cultivated a reputation as someone who would brag about her life at every opportunity. Her constant boasting about the luxuries she was able to enjoy, often in the most tactless of ways, had alienated most of the people she knew. So when Ashley came knocking, hoping to find a friend who might help her out of her current predicament, she was met with cold indifference. No one wanted to offer her anything. No one even seemed to care anymore. After all, it's hard to sympathize with someone who had time and time again made others feel small by putting on a facade of superiority. The inevitable happened when Ashley's once privileged life came crashing down around her. With no options left, she found herself back in her hometown, far away from the glamorous life she had once known. To make ends meet, she took on a dirty job that no one else wanted, working as a pig farmer alongside one of her two long-forgotten uncles. Ashley found herself in a world that was a far cry from the high society circles she had once moved in. It was hard, grueling work, and the stark contrast between the life she had imagined for herself and her reality now was enough to make anyone question their choices. But Ashley had no choice. She had burned so many bridges in her past that there was no one left to turn to. Her pride would not let her beg for help, and perhaps, deep down, she knew she didn't deserve it. As for the last time I spoke to her, I remember offering her something as simple as French fries, just as a way to show that I was still willing to help, even if in a small way. It wasn't about the fries, of course. It was about offering some of the kindness in a world that had become so cruel to her. But despite my offer, she never reached out again. I'm not sure whether it was her pride or fear that kept her from contacting me, but I suspect it was a combination of both. Maybe she was too proud to ask for something so trivial, or maybe she was simply too ashamed to face the reality of what her life had become. Either way, she never took me up on the offer. It almost became a joke to me. A reminder of how someone could fall so far, yet still hold on to the remnants of their pride. I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. Meanwhile, things on my own life were moving forward in a way I never thought possible. Dave and Amy were able to have the wedding they had always dreamed of. It wasn't perfect, nothing ever really is, but it was filled with love, joy, and the kind of happiness that only comes when two people genuinely care about each other. The wedding was a beautiful event, with friends and family coming together to celebrate their love and the future they planned to build together. Amy, despite everything, looked radiant on her special day. Dave, who had been through so much with his own family drama, was equally happy to see his sister finally finding peace in her personal life. Since the wedding, Dave and Amy had settled into a new chapter of their lives, living together in a luxurious penthouse downtown. It was a far cry from the uncertainty they had both experienced in the past, and they were both looking forward to the future with excitement. They had plans to start their own family soon, and their shared dream of creating a stable and loving home was something that brought them closer together every day. For Amy, it was the beginning of a new chapter, one that was free from the toxic influence of her mother. For Dave, it was the confirmation that sometimes, despite everything that goes wrong, things can eventually fall into place. As for the project that Dave had been leading at my company, it was finally back on track after a long and challenging period of uncertainty. When Dakota had come on board to help with the project, it seemed as though everything would fall into place, but the personal drama between him and Ashley had threatened to derail everything. I could tell that Dakota had been distracted, emotionally drained from dealing with her antics, and it was clear that it had taken a toll on his professional life. But once Ashley was out of the picture, Dakota seemed to find a renewed sense of purpose. His passion for his work reignited, and his enthusiasm became contagious once again. He dove into the project with energy and focus, and it wasn't long before things began to move forward in a way we hadn't seen in months. It was as if a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. The Dakota I had been seeing for the past few years, the one weighed down by Ashley's selfishness and manipulation, was gone. In his place was someone who was excited about his job, his life, and the future. And it wasn't just about the project anymore, it was about Dakota rediscovering his own happiness. He had finally freed himself from the chains that had bound him for so long, and it was clear that he was in a better place mentally, emotionally, and professionally. Looking back, it was hard not to feel a little bit of satisfaction in knowing that things were finally going well for everyone who truly mattered. While Ashley continued to wallow in the mess of her own making, the people who had worked hard to build meaningful, positive relationships were thriving. Sometimes life has a way of sorting itself out, even if it takes longer than expected.
My husband and I will be coming home for New Year's, so you better make sure everything is prepared, all right? You've been living comfortably at the in-laws' place, so this is your chance to show some proper respect for us. Make sure we're really celebrated, okay?
Ah, I see. Yes, I understand. Please take care on your journey home. Celebrated, you say? Understood. I'll do my best to make it as enjoyable as I can within my abilities.
Of course. That's only natural, isn't it? Let's see, what would be good? Oh, I know. I want something expensive and delicious. So why don't you get us some high-quality sushi? I don't feel like putting in the effort to chat with the in-laws, so at least make sure there's something good to eat so I can actually enjoy myself.
Is that really something you should say like that? Well, I do sense that you prefer to keep your distance from your in-laws.
Duh! Why wouldn't I? My wife would find dealing with the in-laws a pain, don't you think? Especially me, since I'm the wife of the eldest son. My position is different from yours. Everyone's always expecting something from me. And don't even get me started on the pressure they put on me to hurry up and have kids. It's a pain, honestly.
Even so, I do understand that managing relationships with the in-laws can be tricky, but technically, the ones who should be living with the in-laws are you two. My husband and I are only living here because of that arrangement, to help out and keep them company. So, are you saying that knowing that?
Oh, really? Are you seriously complaining right now? Well, that's pretty low of you. You're just like me, aren't you? You can't even judge me. You're exactly the same.
No, that's not really what I meant. You just called me out for supposedly living comfortably off the in-laws. So if that's how you feel, wouldn't you rather switch places and let us move out?
What? You guys just got married not too long ago, right? And you're already complaining? Come on, you're not in the same position as me. If you can't handle it, then it's even harder for me. You're the type who tries to push the work you don't like onto others, aren't you?
What are you talking about? Are you sure you're not the one projecting here?
I get it. Living with the in-laws is awful, isn't it? But I hate it more than you do, so don't even try to shove it onto me, all right?
What makes you think that's even appropriate?
And besides, it's true you've got it pretty cozy, don't you? All you have to do is split the chores with Mother, isn't that right?
That's not what I'm saying. I have to consider their needs and feelings too. Since you'll be visiting, shouldn't you be the one to communicate your preferences directly? I would appreciate it if you could let me know personally what you'd like to eat.
Huh? That's such a hassle. Isn't it extra work? You live there, don't you? All you need to do is pass along a quick message.
Well, that's true, but that's really not what I meant.
So annoying. I was thrilled to have a sister-in-law who I could have take care of everything for me. But if you're going to be so difficult about it, could you not? You're really starting to get on my nerves. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. So I'll leave it in your hands now. I'm looking forward to it. Bye.
Wait, hold on. Fine, I understand.
Is this really the welcome I get after coming all the way back for New Year's? Just looking at this meal, it's cheap, and it looks like it's meant for a charity soup kitchen, not a celebration. Honestly, did you even listen to what I wanted? I specifically asked for something upscale and impressive.
Wait a second. Bella, we thought you'd be arriving later in the day, so we're out picking up some extra things right now. I didn't know you'd be here so early.
Yes, well, I managed to get an earlier train and thought it would be nice to surprise you all by showing up early. But apparently, that was a mistake. I walked into the kitchen and what do I see? This pathetic display of hand-rolled sushi and scraps. I threw it all out for your information. I mean, really, did you think I was going to eat that?
Wait, you threw it out? Do you realize how much work I put into making that? Those were hand-rolled sushi pieces, Bella. I bought fresh ingredients from the best local fish market,
and I even had my in-laws come over to help with the preparation. I thought you'd appreciate a homemade meal for once instead of the usual takeout.
Oh, spare me the sob story, Leanne. Hand-rolled sushi. That's not what I wanted. I expected sushi from a reputable restaurant, not some amateur attempt. Homemade food like that, it's insulting. How could you expect me to eat something that looks like leftovers? Next time, follow my instructions instead of going off on your little creative projects.
All right, Bella, that's enough. You're taking things way too far this time. Throwing away something Leanne prepared for you? That's not just rude, it's outright disrespectful. You're treating us like we're your servants.
Excuse me? And who do you think you are, taking Leanne's phone to lecture me like I'm a child? I was just expressing my disappointment. It's only food. There's no need for this drama.
It's not only food, it's the effort, the time, and the thought that went into it. Leanne worked hard to make something nice for you, and you just threw it in the trash like it was worthless. I'm not even sure you understand how much this hurt her. Our parents are furious. They're saying they've had enough of your entitlement, and they're ready to cut ties with you for good.
What? Are you kidding me? They're mad at me over a little misunderstanding about a meal? That's ridiculous. And cut ties with me. I don't believe you.
Oh, I'm serious. Our parents have had it with your attitude, and this was the last straw. They're talking about severing ties with you entirely. And I've spoken to your husband too. He's fully aware of what's going on, and frankly, he agrees with them.
Severed ties? This is absurd. You all are overreacting. I never asked for hand-rolled sushi. You're the one who went out of your way to make it. And since when do parents side with their daughter-in-law over their own child? It's not like Leanne is even a real part of this family.
Bella, maybe you should reevaluate your assumptions. I am very much part of this family, and on top of that, I'm also a key shareholder in the family business, the one where your husband works, in case you forgot. My position gives me significant influence, and after hearing about what you've done, our parents have decided it might be time for some changes. They're considering letting your husband go from his position in the company.
You're joking. You can't be serious. You're going to jeopardize our livelihood over some food? This has gone too far. Do you have any idea what this would mean for us?
Actions have consequences, Bella. If you're willing to throw out an entire meal we prepared out of spite, then maybe you don't deserve the benefits that come with being part of this family. And yes, your husband has been calling, pleading for forgiveness, but he's the one who's married to you, so he'll have to deal with the fallout.
I can't believe this. This is a nightmare. You're talking about completely ruining my life over something that should have been a simple family disagreement. And you, using your influence like this, it's petty and cruel.
It's only cruel if you didn't earn it. And frankly, Bella, you've brought this upon yourself. You treat everyone around you as if they exist to serve you, without considering their feelings or the consequences of your actions. Maybe this is the wake-up call you need.
You're my sister-in-law. Family doesn't treat each other like this, especially over something as trivial as a meal. I'm a stay-at-home wife. I rely on my husband's income to support us. How am I supposed to survive if you destroy that?
Well, perhaps it's time you start thinking about contributing. You could consider finding part-time work. There are no children for you to take care of, so it's just you and your husband. If he loses his job, maybe you'll need to step up and help.
Are you listening to yourself? I can't just go out and get a job. I've never had a job. I went straight from college into my marriage with Daniel. This wasn't the life I was prepared for.
Then you'll have to adapt. No one is responsible for carrying you, Bella. Not anymore. If you want the perks of being in this family, maybe you should start respecting the people in it.
I can't believe this. This isn't how family is supposed to act. We're supposed to support each other and not throw each other out over petty disagreements.
Support only goes so far. And as you've proven, you don't exactly treat people with respect. Maybe we've supported you too much, letting you think you could behave this way without any consequences. But I think that's about to change.
You can't seriously be doing this. I'm going to talk to Daniel about this right now. He wouldn't let this happen. He'll take my side.
Feel free to try. But he's already aware of the situation, and he's expressed that he's been fed up with your behavior as well. This isn't just about today. It's about a pattern of disrespect you've shown everyone in this family. He's even said that he's considering divorce if it comes to that.
Divorce? Daniel would never. We've been married for years. He wouldn't just leave me over something like this.
I think he's finally realized he doesn't have to put up with your behavior. He deserves a better life than being married to someone who treats everyone around her like they're beneath her. And for him, the decision is already made. The family, including Daniel, has decided to step back if this is how you choose to behave.
You're all insane. I've given my life to this family, and now, because of one little argument, you're all willing to throw me out like I'm nothing?
It's not one little argument, Bella. It's about years of entitlement and disrespect that everyone has tolerated for far too long. The family has finally decided that enough is enough.
This is unbelievable. I refuse to be treated like this. I'll find a way to fix this. Daniel and I will talk, and I'll get him to see reason. He'll understand.
Good luck with that. But even if he does, you'll find that you've lost the respect of everyone else here. Whatever you do next, Bella, I hope it serves as a reality check.
Leanne, I truly apologize for everything that happened the other day. I never imagined that Bella would do something so completely unreasonable. Recently, she had been acting a little too self-confident, but I never thought it would escalate to something like this.
I see. Well, I was certainly shocked, and yes, it was wasteful with the ingredients. But in all honesty, I don't think it's fair to place all the blame on you. I know you as someone who is sensible and reasonable. Even when we were out shopping for the ingredients, we had planned to meet up here. However, Bella, as usual, didn't want to put in the effort and decided to go to my in-laws' house on her own. I heard she opened a bottle of wine, sat back, and relaxed, completely ignoring everyone else. I can tell you, even my husband, who's usually a very patient and understanding person, couldn't help but laugh at the situation.
Yeah, even my brother, who's normally quite composed, just couldn't hold it in. But honestly, I get it now. Bella has always been a bit of a strong-willed person, but I never imagined her behavior would spiral to such extremes. It's honestly quite shocking.
By the way, Daniel, I'd appreciate it if you didn't use such formal speech with me. You don't have to suddenly become so distant.
No. I feel that I should take some responsibility in this too. If I had done a better job of communicating with you and properly explaining things, then maybe Bella wouldn't have acted out in such a disrespectful way. Honestly, up until now, I've been seeing her only as a younger sister, and maybe that's what led her to think she could get away with this kind of behavior. I never expected her to take such liberties, thinking that because she's my sister-in-law, she also has a certain level of power in the company. As you know, she's a major shareholder.
I'm surprised you even consider that. Honestly, I feel even more embarrassed now. I'm so sorry about everything. So, after all that, how did things go between you two?
Well, we got divorced, obviously. She came to me crying and apologizing, begging for my forgiveness. But the truth is, nothing she said really got through to me. At that point, I had already made up my mind.
I see. But Daniel, are you sure you're okay with this decision? I mean, I understand that it's difficult to work with someone like Bella, especially when she's such a significant shareholder in your company. But this decision, well, it's also a hard one for your in-laws, don't you think? I mean, they basically gave her an ultimatum. If you don't divorce him, you're out of the company.
I understand, and I'm really at peace with this decision. The truth is, I've been growing tired of Bella for a long time now. There were things she did that I couldn't overlook, and I found out she had been betraying me. I spent some time gathering evidence, and when I finally confronted her with it, everything came to light.
What? Betraying you? What are you talking about? How could she betray you?
You'd be shocked if I told you. Turns out she had been having an affair behind my back. I had suspicions, but I never had any concrete proof until recently. You know how she can be with people, charming and persuasive, but underneath it all, she's been playing both sides.
I can't believe it. An affair? After all this time?
Yes, and it's not just that. I also found out that she had been spending company money irresponsibly. I kept trying to ignore it, thinking it was just one mistake after another, but I couldn't turn a blind eye to it anymore. She kept pretending that everything was fine and even came to me asking for forgiveness, but I had already made up my mind. She wasn't the person I thought she was.
But Daniel, I can't imagine how hard this must be for you. After everything you've been through, this must be devastating. How do you even begin to cope with something like this?
It's definitely difficult, but sometimes you have to face the truth, no matter how hard it is. I realized that if I kept letting her walk over me, nothing would change. Her marriage was falling apart, and I couldn't allow myself to be in that situation anymore. I deserve better, and so does she. She needs to face the consequences of her actions.
I can understand. But are you sure there's no way to salvage anything between you two? I mean, you've been together for so long, right?
It's hard to say, but I'm certain. I don't think there's any going back from this. It's been a long time coming, and the damage has already been done. And I try to be patient. I try to forgive. But this betrayal is something I can't just sweep under the rug.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that serious. But Daniel, don't you think this will affect everything? Your family, your work, the company itself?
Of course, I've thought about that. I've considered the fallout from all of this. But in the end, I know it's for the best. I don't want to live in a lie anymore, and I don't want to be with someone who doesn't value me. Maybe it's harsh, but I think this is the right choice for my own well-being and future.
I see. I don't know what to say. I just never expected any of this. I thought things were going well between you two.
To be honest, I thought the same for a long time. But the truth always comes out, doesn't it? It's just a matter of time.
And hopefully, when the truth does come out of her, we'll be able to deal with her once and for all. I'm sure this wasn't the outcome you wanted from something like this on a day like this, but we'll just know that I'll always have your side in all of this. And if there's anything you need me to do down the road, just ask.
Thank you, Leanne. It means a lot to me hearing that from you. Like I was saying, in due time, we'll figure out what's really going on in that woman's head.
Absolutely.
I do want you to be aware of one other thing, though, with Bella. If things really do go further south with her than we are both expecting, can you make sure to help me cut ties to her as well?
I'm sure that a divorce will be able to do that just fine, right?
I know, and it should. But with a woman like her, there's no telling what she'll do when the divorce really does take place. She could turn into a crazed stalker for all we know. I'm sure the only one strong enough to deal with something like that would be you.
If that does end up happening, then I'll help you deal with it. But for the time being, let's just wait and see what happens.
Alright, thank you.
I am truly sorry for everything that happened during this trip. I can't express enough how much I apologize. Please, I'm begging you. Could you talk to my husband and ask him to forgive me?
You're no longer his wife, right? So what's the point of all of this? Why are you coming to me now? I already told you that I won't interfere with your relationship. So asking me to do something about it now, there's really nothing I can do.
I never thought it would come to a divorce. I really didn't expect this at all.
And on top of all that, the fact that you were having an affair with another man was exposed, and now you're being asked to pay alimony. I can't believe it. And now, after all that, you've come to me pleading for help?
Wait, you knew about all of this? If you already knew, then it would have been much easier to talk about, wouldn't it? I mean, I've been struggling with my own issues, being a stay-at-home wife. I've been going through a lot, and I just wanted to escape for a while. I wanted to spend some time with someone else, to have a little fun, to feel alive for once. But I promise I won't do it again, I swear. Please, I'm begging you. Could you say something to him for me? Could you ask him to at least forgive me?
What exactly should I ask him? It seems like you're trying to get me to side with you as if I'd understand what you're going through, just because I'm a woman. But I'm not like you. I don't share that same way of thinking. I'm not a stay-at-home wife anymore. I work hard every day. I don't have the time or energy to look at other men. I'm far too busy with my own life to even think about that.
But please, don't say that. You've been divorced, and now that you have to support yourself on your own, how are you going to do that? You've never had to do that before, have you? And now, on top of all this, you're facing a lawsuit for alimony. I can only imagine how terrible this must be for you.
This is just too ridiculous. You've never really worked hard for anything in your life, have you? You had the nerve to throw away the sushi ingredients that someone else worked hard to buy and prepare, only to demand that I provide you with high-end sushi? Are you seriously out of your mind? What exactly did you think you were entitled to?
Well, it's because my husband was the one making the money. And that's why I got to eat whatever I wanted and had all the nice things. I wasn't the one working for it, but he was.
But let me remind you, you're not someone with any real skills of your own. And this is the result of that grand misunderstanding of yours, isn't it? You got carried away thinking you were something you weren't. And now look at you. If only you had been more humble. If you had been grateful for what you had instead of demanding more, you could have lived a much more peaceful, fulfilling life. But no, you let your delusions of grandeur get the best of you. And now look at where it's gotten you.
I've already apologized, though. I've said sorry a million times. I'm doing everything I can to make up for it. So please, I'm begging you, talk to him. Say something. At least send me some money. Anything.
Well, the reality you've been avoiding is finally here. You're standing on the path you've tried so hard to avoid, while others have worked tirelessly to walk that very same path. But someone like you, who has no concept of real work or struggle, will probably never experience anything like the luxury you had before. No more high-end sushi for you. No more easy days. You need to wake up and realize that the life you've been pretending to lead doesn't suit you. It never did. Get real and stop living in denial. To begin with, I had always known that Bella's attitude was problematic. At first, I told myself it was a phase, something that everyone goes through at some point in their lives. We all go through rough patches, right? Everyone has moments of frustration where they act out of character. I didn't want to judge her too quickly, especially since we were friends, and I had seen the better side of her at one point. Bella was the kind of person who could charm you effortlessly. She had this way about her that made you feel like you were the most important person in the world whenever she was around. It was disarming, almost magical. And for a long time, I believed in that charm. I wanted to believe it was the real Bella. But as time went on, that illusion started to fade. It wasn't an overnight shift. It was gradual, like a slow burn. Little by little, I started to notice things that didn't add up. The way she treated Daniel, her husband, was the first big clue. It was subtle at first, just little things that seemed off. A comment here, a dismissive glance there, a way of shutting him down when he tried to express his feelings. Bella had a knack for making him feel small, making him question his worth. I couldn't believe it at first because Daniel had always been that kind of person who seemed to have everything under control. He was charming, generous, and genuinely kind-hearted. Yet Bella, none of those qualities seemed to matter. She took him for granted, disregarded his emotions, and used his love for her as a tool for manipulation. For a while, I thought I was just being paranoid. I didn't want to believe that someone like Bella, whom I had known for years, could be so cold and calculating. But the more I saw, the more I realized that my suspicions were not unfounded. Bella wasn't just going through a tough time. She was treating Daniel with increasing contempt. Every time he tried to speak up about the relationship, about the things that were bothering him, she would laugh it off. If he brought up a concern, she would dismiss it as insignificant. She would tell him he was being too sensitive or that he was overthinking things. She would always turn the blame on him, making him feel like the problem wasn't her behavior, but his reaction to it. It wasn't long before Daniel started to change. He wasn't the same man I had known before. The spark in his eyes had faded, and his once jovial demeanor was replaced by a quiet resignation. He would still laugh at jokes, still go through the motions of life, but there was an emptiness behind his smile. It was as if he was just going through the motions, trying to survive each day, but not really living. I could see that the weight of his marriage was wearing him down. I had never seen him so tired, so defeated. He wasn't the same person anymore, and it hurt to watch. I tried to talk to him about it, of course. As his friend, it was hard for me to stand by and watch him suffer without doing anything. But whenever I brought it up, he would deflect. He would say something like, "It's just a phase, man. She's going through a lot right now." Or, "I'm sure it'll get better, just give it time." He didn't want to admit it, not even to himself. He was still holding on to the hope that things would improve, that Bella would change. He didn't want to believe that his marriage was falling apart, that the person he had trusted and loved for so long could be so toxic. It was heartbreaking to watch because I knew that deep down, he didn't believe any of it. He was just too afraid to face the truth. He didn't want to face the reality that Bella wasn't the person he thought she was. But the longer he stayed in the marriage, the more apparent it became that nothing was going to change. Bella was who she was, and no amount of hope or effort on Daniel's part was going to alter that fact. The situation reached a boiling point when Daniel finally reached his limit. I'm not sure what exactly triggered it, but I remember the day he came to me, his face pale and drawn. He was quiet, but there was a certain determination in his eyes that I hadn't seen before. He wasn't angry, he was just resolute. I could tell he had made a decision. He wasn't going to tolerate it anymore. He had finally come to terms with the fact that his marriage was over, and he was going to do something about it. At that point, Daniel had already begun quietly gathering evidence, documenting Bella's behavior, noting the time she had been deceitful, manipulative, and emotionally abusive. I don't think he had intended to do it at first. I think it was just a way for him to convince himself that he wasn't overreacting. But there was something more to his feelings than just resentment. But as he began to gather more and more evidence, it became undeniable. His marriage was toxic, and Bella wasn't the person he had hoped she was. I'll never forget the day he told me. We were sitting at the same cafe where we'd spent countless afternoons, talking about everything and nothing. He looked at me with a calmness I hadn't seen before, and simply said, "I'm filing for divorce." There was no anger in his voice, no bitterness, just a quiet resolve. It was like he had finally accepted that his marriage was over, and now it was time to move on. He wasn't even looking for sympathy or validation. He just needed to tell someone, to make it real. The decision wasn't easy for him, of course. Divorce is never easy. It's a messy, painful process, and I could tell it weighed heavily on him. But at the same time, I could see the relief in his eyes. It was like a burden had been lifted off his shoulders. He had finally made the choice to put himself first, to stop sacrificing his own happiness for someone who would never appreciate it. It was a brave decision, one that he should have made years ago, but I knew that he had finally come to the realization that his happiness mattered too. As expected, Bella's reaction was explosive. She was blindsided, of course. She had never expected Daniel to actually go through with it. She had spent years manipulating him, making him believe that he was the problem, that he was the one who needed to change. She had convinced him to accept blame for everything that went wrong in their relationship. But now, suddenly, she was the one who was being held accountable, and she couldn't handle it. She tried everything to get Daniel to change his mind. She played the victim, of course. She cried, she begged, she promised that she would change. She told him that she was sorry, that she had been stressed out and wasn't thinking clearly. But Daniel had heard it all before. He had heard the promises, the apologies, the tears, and he knew they were empty. He had reached a point where he simply couldn't believe her anymore. He had given her chance after chance, but each time she had disappointed him. There was nothing left to salvage. In the end, Bella's desperation led to Daniel's family. She showed up uninvited, thinking that if she could win them over, they might change Daniel's mind. But it was too late for that. Daniel's family had seen through her act long ago. They had watched as she tore Daniel down over the years, and they weren't about to let her manipulate them too. They had no sympathy for her. They weren't interested in her apologies or her tears. All they wanted was to protect Daniel, to make sure he was okay. Bella must have realized at that moment that she had lost. She had nowhere else to turn. Her reputation was in tatters, and the people she had once used to manipulate Daniel were no longer on her side. She had no power left. In a last-ditch effort, she resorted to begging. She fell to her knees, crying and apologizing for everything she had done. But her pleas were ignored. Daniel's family didn't want to hear it anymore. They had seen enough. The situation escalated from there. When Bella refused to leave, when she continued to cry and beg for forgiveness, Daniel's family had no choice but to call the police. They couldn't allow her to disrupt their lives any longer. And so, Bella was escorted away by the authorities, her face streaked with tears and her pride shattered. It must have been a humiliating experience for her, but it was also the wake-up call she needed. The life she had built on lies and manipulation had finally caught up with her. I don't know what happened to Bella after that. I heard rumors that she left town and that she disappeared somewhere in search of a new start. But I imagine that it wasn't an easy transition for her. She had spent so many years manipulating everyone around her, and now she had no one left to manipulate. The consequences of her actions had finally caught up with her, and she would have to face them whether she was ready or not. As for Daniel, well, I think the divorce was the best thing that could have happened for him. It was a hard, painful process, but it was also a liberating one. He had finally taken control of his life, and he was starting to rebuild himself. It was no longer the defeated, broken man he had once been. He was free. Looking back on it all, I can't help but feel a sense of justice. Bella had been given every chance to change, but she had squandered them all. She had treated Daniel with cruelty, and now she had to face the consequences. The reality that had been waiting for her all along had finally caught up with her. It wasn't easy for her, but sometimes reality has a way of putting things into perspective. And I think Bella finally understood that.